This is the center of federal government. Like, this is my place, like, these are my people. I think leadership is critical. Leadership is that, like, magic ingredient. It's that thing that can make things go very, very wrong or very, very right.
When I get on the metro in the morning or when I drive down the street and I see that Capitol Dome or I see that Washington Monument, it never really gets old. The same thing that gets me juiced up to go to work for the Government Accountability Office is the same thing that gets me juiced up to pick up my camera and take pictures. And that's just the conflict, the culture wars, the controversy, the injustices that are occurring in this country.
A lot sort of swirls around the federal government, but there's also a lot of other things going on.
I'm always humbled by the place that I live and the type of work that I get to do.
It's just a really vibrant, great place that I probably see myself staying in for, if not forever, definitely the foreseeable future.
In today's new economy, young professionals aren't just clocking in. They're hustling, dreaming, and transforming industries city by city. We went across the country to find out how they're making it work, all in pursuit of an American paycheck.
I grew up in this area. I studied government and politics. You know, I just think it's fascinating how gigantic groups of people try and organize themselves to all coexist. And we can disagree on if we want it to be big or small or who's in it, but I think we all agree that we want it to work well and function well for us. So the Partnership for Public Service overall, we're a nonpartisan nonprofit. We're working to make a better government and a stronger democracy. And so we really think leadership is the key. Having better leaders is something that is crucial. They're the ones that make the systems. They're the ones that implement the policies. They're the ones that are leading these workforces. And so we work with all different kinds of leaders in strengthening their leadership skills so that they can better deliver on their agency's missions.
Hi everyone, we're gonna come back together in 1 minute.
Well, I wanted to be a teacher the whole time I was growing up. I remember early on, this was like second grade, and I would note down things of like what not to do when I'm a teacher or what to do one day when I'm a teacher, you know? And so I think sometimes when I tie that to leadership development, in a lot of ways, like it is also teaching and learning, it's just for adults. That, I think, led me to this point of government, of leadership development, just sort of like colliding together to be this kind of ideal role for me.
You all understand each other better than sort of anybody else would in this leadership team because you have all the same information and you're coming from those assumptions and understanding that. So thank you for that. Anyone else?
Maybe one day the nonprofit government leadership development world just won't cut it anymore and I'll just have to fully follow my creative passions. So this is needle felting. This is a little orchid that I made. I think there's a lot of people that probably spend a lot on like going out and that kind of social thing, and that's not me as much. You know, a lot of my hobbies are probably like more low cost. I care about government, and then I really care about leadership development and like smoosh those together, and that's what we've got here.
So the Government Accountability Office is a federal agency. It's the supreme audit institution of the United States of America. Essentially what we do is we receive requests from congressional committees to do analysis and produce reports on a variety, of issues. Name the issue that's going on in the United States right now or abroad, and I guarantee we're probably doing work on it.
Is there a reason why the State Department hasn't wanted to follow the GAO's recommendation with regard to coming back with a plan on this?
Essentially what we're looking at is to make sure that the money is being spent correctly in these federal government programs. And, we save taxpayers millions of dollars, and we, bring transparency of the government process to the American people. I was on a job where we audited the Coast Guard. That work took me to a Coast Guard base in Mobile, Alabama, in the middle of summer, where we were out on the water. I'm inspecting some of the Coast Guard infrastructure. I've been in row houses in West Baltimore, looking at the peeling paint inside the buildings and the effects that it has on small children. Obviously, as an analyst and a professional, you can't help but read these types of issues or hear from these people, and it humanizes the situation and takes you away from the work a little bit. Stuff is expensive here. I mean, that's just how it is. So I try to budget my money accordingly. I'm still in the home search. I've been searching since pretty much early last year. But I think the crossroads has come between, do I want to stay in the city? Do I want to buy something in the city, or do I want to move further out? Get more bang for my buck. But I really do like living here, and I probably will settle down here. Family, kids, all that, rooted right here. I've been doing photography for about a little over a decade now, 10 or 12 years. I was just looking for a hobby, picked up a camera. I just started shooting that as a hobby, and I recognized that I had a talent and gift for it. It's still a creative outlet for me, but I've also found ways to use it, for my everyday work. So I mentioned the Coast Guard report. There were about 5 or 6 or 7 photos in that report, and I took pretty much all of them and did the same for the lead paint report. There's a great quote by Harry Truman that goes, "It's amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit." And I think that aptly applies to the work that the GAO does, and it's a privilege to work in that team environment.
So you have a busy social life? Are you single? What's your rhythm?
Single now, yeah. My social life is pretty average, I would say. I go out on the town, I hang with my friends, check out a museum, check out a movie. I'm a big reader, I'm a big writer, and GAO does exactly that. I just hope that the agency continues to give me more opportunities. I'm glad I could just contribute to the effort, with that skill set of mine.
I'm very mission driven, and so it's really important for me to be at a place where that's kind of the end all be all versus profit margin, even though there's nothing wrong with that. I worked at a private place before, and it's not mutually exclusive. You can make a huge impact. It's just easier for me, I think, on the day to day when I make decisions, that at the end of the day, it's what's best for the mission is what drives everything. And I could be making more money in other places, and so could pretty much everyone in the government. Obviously, federal government has great benefits and everything, but I think a lot of times they really are motivated by the work they're doing and the impact that they're having. And am very fortunate to have learned from so many people and work with so many people.
I'm passionate about the work that I do. I'm honored and blessed to have been given the opportunity, to work for the agency that I work for. It's not lost upon me, that I am an African-American man, and I came from 2 hard-working parents who did not have it the way I had it and had to bust their butt, in the military to give me and my brothers and sisters, the life that we had. I couldn't ask for more. So I'm very happy with the career I have and the life that I have, and living in such a great city, is just kind of the icing on the cake. So I'm blessed and fortunate.